Your host, nationally acclaimed speaker and author, Debbie Georgatos. Ladies, Can We Talk starts now.
Well, good evening and welcome to Ladies Can We Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I want to add to the many Merry Christmases you probably heard in your family over the last week, but I hope you all had a wonderful Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas season. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge wherever you're listening to this broadcast, whether you're in North Texas or you're tuning in online anywhere in America, you probably heard we had very, very severe and just awful weather in Texas yesterday. We had tornadoes, and we are in Dallas in North Texas, and even in our home we had our phones going off. Our 3 adult kids were home, and so there's 5 phones buzzing saying take shelter, and so we were very blessed to be safe in our home. But I do want to take a moment to encourage all of you to keep your fellow Americans in the cities right outside of Dallas and Rowlett and Garland and DeSoto area, just North Texas generally, in your prayers. And actually, if you are inclined to try to help these tornado victims in this area, you can go to Red Cross, and they are happily helping out directly on the ground, helping out these families. And there were sadly at least 11 deaths and 15 or more people injured, and truly the devastation is remarkable. If you haven't seen it on television or online, really looks just remarkable and horrible. And so our hearts and prayers go out to everyone if affected by that. And again, it's always in some horrible circumstance like this, there's a tiny bit of a silver lining that again reminds you of the goodness of the American people, because so many people want to jump up and help. And people had Facebook messages up early morning. Okay, I have a chainsaw and a truck. Tell me where you need me. Or just these kind of, what can I do to help things? So terribly sorry for all those who suffered during the tornadoes, which were the day after Christmas this year in 2015, but grateful for those trying to help, and hope that we can get those people back on track in their lives and homes as soon as possible. Well, on Ladies Can We Talk tonight, we have one guest who's going to be calling in at 6:30, and he is Texas State Senator Bob Hall from Central District 2, and he toured the Texas migrant camp that has sprung up in it's either in or out nearby Rockwall, Texas. And so he's going to talk not just about the conditions at that camp, but how we got here, or we have all these migrant, and children is not the correct word, as you'll hear from him. They're not children, but they're people who entered America illegally and are residing currently in migrant camps. And we'll find out, and I want you all to understand how important this issue is. These people are claiming the status of refugee, and what happens in our system because of them claiming that status, and not just the financial cost, but we're going to spend a lot of this evening's show tonight on Ladies Can We Talk, talking about what impact any kind of people coming to America can have if we don't, within America, reassert and reclaim our identity, our American unique identity. So that actually is a great segue to talk with you about my opening segment, which I always try to do, hone in on one issue related to America. And tonight, I really want to talk about this redefining or reestablishing, restating, in some way rediscovering the identity of America. And the reason I want to talk about that is this. Many of you and we have traveled various places in the world, and if you conjure up a particular country you've been to, you might tie into and think about their, the food they have, the culture, the, generations and eons of people who are descendants of the people who founded that country. And they have, and many countries have an ethnic identity and a racial identity and kind of a national identity tied to their race or their ethnicity. But America is different. And America matters to the world more than any other country matters to the world. And America matters because America was not founded on the ethnicity, race, the color of the skin, didn't have anything to do with the founding of America. America was founded on ideas. And those ideas were argued about among the early colonists who came to America from England and discovered they had to eventually stand up against King George. But those ideas were argued and molded and formed by people who had a deep, passionate love for liberty and a respect for the rights of the individual. And those ideas resulted in the Declaration of Independence, the single most important document in all of world history after the Bible and the Constitution, and ultimately the creation of all that America is. America is still the country that people around the world who are repressed, who long for freedom and safety and liberty and opportunity, it's the place America wants to come, that the people want to come. They want to come to America for those reasons. And we who are the guardians of this precious country, we have a job to retain and hold on to and understand better the identity of America, what it means to be America. Again, it's not race, it's not ethnicity, it's not the color of your skin, it's not your family's wealth or status. It's about ideas. And the ideas are what made America abundant, free, safe, made it the place that every repressed person in the world wants to try to come. And so our job in preserving America is to demand that as we in America accept more citizens in any way, whether they are people who come here because they are political refugees, people who come here, they're Syrian refugees fleeing the violence of ISIS, they are people pouring over America's southern border because of poverty and corruption in the governments in Central and South America, whatever the reasons are for coming, our job in preserving America is to insist that our systems in place, our immigration systems, actually require people to understand and sign on to being American. It's not enough to grant them American citizenship or grant them some other legal status that allows them to be here legally. If we do not, as Americans, demand that our immigration system and our laws and our cultural expectations and our political leaders all come down squarely on insisting that America hold on to our unique identity in the world, we could lose America. We're going to talk tonight about, later in the show, what's happening in Sweden. It's simply breathtaking. We're going to talk in the next segment about what it requires, what is required for someone who wants to become a citizen of New Zealand. Countries have an obligation to hold on to their identity. And we're going to talk on the show with Senator Bob Hall a little later about what's happening in these migrant camps. These are camps made up of minors. They're not children, but they're minors, at least they're under 21, and their efforts to come here and be part of American society. What is it we are going to insist upon as citizens, that for people to, what standard do they have to meet to become American? You know, I gave a speech in a small town a few months ago. It was a very small town. We were talking about this idea, and I said, this is a small town. It's 10,000 people or whatever it is. If you had, 100,000 hardline communists move into this community and be the ones who voted, your city would change overnight. Overnight it would change. And America can change if we allow people into America to become voting citizens who don't get what America is. Then we will lose this country, because America consists of and is an idea. It's the hardest thing to teach our children, but it must be taught better. It's the hardest thing to convey to a new citizen. But our job in this country is to preserve the American identity. And we're very near the end of the year, 2015, and a lot of people make New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to make a few. You probably are too. But I want to make the New Year's resolution for Ladies Can We Talk, for this show. And our New Year's resolution is to do everything we can think of. It's our mission to encourage all of America to rediscover and reestablish the identity of America, to know what it means and what it is, and to feel personally obligated to do everything we can do to perpetuate it. America is not socialist. We are a free market country. America has rule of law, and if we don't insist on rule of law, we lose it. We become a confused and lost society where we have just exactly what we tried to fight against when we had the revolution. We become a society where laws apply to some but not all. America has stability because of the rule of law. America has prosperity and abundance because of freedom and free markets and not socialism and redistribution. America has limited government, meaning mainly government stays out of your life and does the few limited things that government needs to do to preserve the country. We are trending toward a government-controlled society, and we have to stop that trend because it will fundamentally transform and harm America. We have to hold on to the entrepreneurial, can-do, American, self-reliant spirit that's part and parcel of America. We lose that when we have growing classes of people who simply live off the system and never participate in the American dream. When we entice people to cross the borders into America because what we offer them is long-term reliance on government, and we don't say to them and to all of us, our job is to create a society perpetuated by the self-reliant, can-do American spirit, the expectation that each individual works hard to participate and contribute to the American dream, to create his or her own dream. We are the guardians of this whole idea, America, and that's going to be the mission, the New Year's resolution and mission of Ladies Can We Talk over this next year, to continually rediscover, reestablish, restate the identity of America and tie that to everything we talk about. So we're zipping up against a break here. I want to tell you, when we come back after our break, I'm going to tell you an amazing story about some friends of ours. It's a friend and her husband who have achieved dual citizenship in America and New Zealand. And I'm going to tell you what New Zealand required in order for them to do that. It's the kind of thing America should think about as we move forward with many, many people wanting to become American citizens. And our job, again, is to hold on to the identity of America. This is Debbie Georgatos, and Ladies, Can We Talk?